Well, going into our next season outlook, we have the Chicago Bulls. So, Chicago endured a difficult 2025-2026 season, finishing 31 and 51 and finishing 12th in the Eastern Conference. The Bulls possessed a 112.1 offensive rating, which had them 25th in the league, and porous 117.4 defensive rating, which had them 22nd in the league. Second year forward Matas Buzelis showed promise by averaging 16.3 points, 5.8 rebounds, and 2.1 assists on 46% shooting while playing 77 games, improving his 3-point percentage to 34.9. He's him and
Mm,
Josh Giddey that we'll talk about in a little bit as well were the bright spots of the Bulls. There
for
was
sure.
I feel like they've always have, each season like a little run where like are the Bulls back? Is the offense is looking really good?
Yeah, that
So
happened
I
for a month. It
I
did. Yeah,
I
you remember?
I was about to say I remember that pretty vividly. So their offense really wasn't the issue, but it slowed down throughout the whole season, ranking them 25th this year, and then their defense, which wasn't good all year, did not improve. So that obviously had them as finishing in 12th in the Eastern
12th.
Conference, but.
Right.
Matas was a huge bright spot for them. So, and then like I just mentioned earlier, man, Josh Giddey emerged as the team's engine, leading the Bulls with 17 points and 8.3 rebounds per night and dishing out 9.1 assists per game, man. Giddey totaled 492 total assists over his 54 appearances this season. Mid-season trades stripped away veteran guards Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu, along with Nikola Vucevic and Kevin Herter, as the franchise pivoted towards a rebuild. And we brought that up to them, to the audience whenever they were in the midst of all this and when the trades had happened. They have always been a play-in team, not getting the best pick
Fringe.
because
Yeah.
yeah, like a 9-10 seed having to win 2 games to get into the playoffs. That's kind of been the Chicago Bulls like mantra for the last since the play-in has been created. So it kind of gave the fans and the owner obviously not there anymore. They ended up doing a full reshuffle of everybody,
Sweet.
but
Right.
they got so
Feds did a
accustomed to
sweep.
being complacent with, oh, we're a potential playoff team year in year out, but not really improving the roster. So the fact that they this season have done that and are going into that direction, I think it for Bulls fans, I can't really speak for y'all, but I'm just outsider looking in. I would assume y'all are probably happy for all this that's going on because now it's putting you on a direction
Yeah, you know
that
where
you
you'll
all have
go.
been teetering for the last 6 years and haven't
Exactly.
really been able to prove your roster and get a franchise guy without free agency and having to overpay for a star. But man, as a head coach Billy Donovan though then resigned on April 21st, 2026 after 6 seasons with Chicago, leaving the organization in flux. Chicago ownership also fired Arturis Karnisovas and Mark Eversley for their poor mismanagement of the roster. Chicago only had 2 playoff appearances in the last 10 years, with a weak defense and inconsistent shooting undermining the development of Giddey and Buzelis. The Bulls finished well outside the playoff picture again this season. To climb back into contention, Chicago must find a coach who can build a cohesive system, bolster perimeter defense and shooting, and continue nurturing its young core, Rob Dillingham, Anthony Simons, Josh Giddey, and Montez Buzelis. But yeah, I mean, for the Bulls this season for them wasn't the greatest, but I think
No front court.
for Bulls fans, this was probably like a good year for them. To kind of say that's kind of crazy, just because they potentially have a higher chance of getting one of these guys in this upcoming draft, and then they are reshuffled their whole front office. So now they have hopefully they get someone in there that will be able to lead them to the right direction and bring them back to where they were in the 90s with Jordan.
Yeah.
But one step at a time. So not the most successful season, but you saw bright spots. They had no center, like you just mentioned earlier, and no real like true forwards. Buzelli's is, but he doesn't have the size yet. So we're kind of getting bullied down low. So got a lot to figure out defensively, offensively. We saw glimpses of what y'all can be, and then you were able to get Rob Dillingham, Anthony Simons. You're getting these a whole but honestly a log jam of guards that we'll see what that ends up looking like in the coming years. But
Right.
we'll see, man. Just Bulls as a
Yeah,
whole, the trades not the greatest, but you got a lottery pick. You're going into a rebuild, so I wouldn't say the worst
we
season, but
understand.
not the greatest, of course.
Right. And we had them like barely over their
Hmm.
totals wins at the beginning,
Hmm.
6 months ago. So I believe the Bulls are on the right path. If similar to the Bucks, just a lot of outside stuff going on. Obviously, the Billy Donovan and the GM decisions impact the team. And if I had to give it a rating, it's like a 5 or 6 out of 10. But if I'm a fan, it's like a 9 out of 10. I'm excited for the future. Essengay didn't play at all. We didn't bring him up because he didn't play, but no, Essengay is still interesting, and we're excited to see what he can do. CJ brought up the log jam at guard. We'll have to see what Dillingham or Simons and Giddy can turn into, that little trio. We know Giddy's going to be useful, but just who else can help him? Kobe White being traded was not the smartest idea. Same with Vucevic, to be honest. It weakened their front court a lot. But Chicago fans, like CJ said, the lottery pick is something you can bank on. You guys have done an okay job too in the draft. It's not like you've missed completely. Matas Buzelis to me was behind Steph Castle. I mean, probably I would take probably right after Steph Castle, if I'm being honest with you. If we
Hmm.
had to do a redraft, I just think he has so much upside if he can get a jump shot. So it's nothing to scoff at. Chicago, y'all are doing all right.